For me, El Cambio is not charity. It's a pro football club, pro academy, and I am here investing my life into making. I've said that the possibility of training, practicing someone who's going to Real Madrid, it's possibly this is the place where the chances are biggest. I come from Denmark in AGF, and we have good players, and we have nice academy facilities, stuff like that. But the talent in Uganda, especially at El Cambio, is so much higher than I've ever seen before. And I've seen many places, I've visited many academies around the world, but for me, here, I have the biggest opportunity to practice someone that can go to Real Madrid, Barcelona, Premier League, stuff like that. Because we have so much talent in our players, but now our facilities are better. You've seen the pitch, you've seen hopefully you've seen all of this, which is giving our players. So we are really trying to make someone succeed in life here. The ECA way, I think you are most interested in the football part of it. The ECA way, our style of play, is very clear. We want to be dominating, and I hope that when you play us, that you meet players who wants to be dominating, who wants to have the ball, and to hopefully make you guys run after the ball for a long time, to pressure you into playing long ball, pressure high, dominating where the ball is going, right? And then we want to be entertaining. The most boring part of being a coach in Denmark is sometimes Danish players can be boring, right? Here we want to have players who are entertaining, who does something that's entertaining. If you have a 1-against-1, you are not allowed to play the ball here. Then you have to use your skills. If you are inside the box, you have to finish. If you score, you have to celebrate. We want to see someone having something else than anything you can find in Europe. Sometimes the players in Europe, they can be boring. They can be technically smart, technically gifted, and they can pass the ball around, find the free player, but maybe they're not the best one against. That is what we want to create here. Players that you want to see every week. When you turn on the TV and you watch Real Madrid, you are watching for Vinicius, you are watching for Rodrigo, you are watching for Valverde. The best players and the most entertaining ones, those are the ones you want to watch. Those are the players we are trying to develop while we're here. Yeah? And then we want to be efficient. You can be the most entertaining footballer in the world, doing all sorts of skills in the corner, by the corner flag or something. But if it doesn't get past, if you don't come in and score or make assists, score goals, if you don't play forward, if you don't go past players, it matters zero if you're not efficient, right? If you are a midfield player who can turn and then drive, but you lose the ball every time you try and play it, you're not efficient, right? So you need to be efficient. You need to score goals, have assists, do stuff like that. We cannot have players here who has 50% in passing accuracy. That's impossible, right? Because then those players will be selected off at some point because you're not efficient enough, right? Because fine, you can be entertaining, but if you don't get anywhere, doesn't really matter, right? And then lastly, attacking minded players, right? James was never the best, never. But every time James is waking up, every time James is eating lunch, dinner, every time he's about to play a game, practice, every time he misses, all he thinks about is how can I score goals. He don't care. That's boring. For me, it's boring to play backwards. And it takes bravery and it takes skills, it takes personality, mentality to play forward. Try to play forward. Sometimes we lose the ball. Maybe that's not the most efficient every time, but we try and play forward. We try and make the passes that are the most dangerous ones. And sometimes we are efficient. That's perfect. Or sometimes we take our 1-against-1s because we're trying to play forward, or we make overlaps, stuff like that. But we have to be attacking minded. We want to make attacking footballers that wants to go forward. And then lastly, we want creative players. And to be creative, you need skills. If you don't have good technique, you can't be creative, because maybe you think of something that could be created that can get you out of the situation. If you don't have technique to do it, it doesn't really matter, right? So that's our style of play. I really do hope that when you play us, that's the thing you see. Those are the players that you see. Those are the. I really do hope that that's our way, right? Then we have some principles that we work out from. To create a style of play and to create players that can do that, we need principles. Something that we train. We cannot be dominating. We cannot be creative if we're not asking for the ball. If I'm not asking to get the ball, getting more repetitions, it doesn't really matter. Because I'm not brave enough. I'm not comfortable enough. I don't have the confidence to ask for the ball, get it, and then try something, right? So for us, that's one of our keystones. We need players that wants to ask for the ball. If you make a mistake, it's fine. But the next time you have the chance, you'll ask for it once again. You'll get it. You'll try once again, right? Until you succeed and until you are efficient. You need to play with both feet. Modern football, you need to be able to play with both feet. Maybe you don't have to be, if I'm right-footed, I don't have to be the best with left, but you need to be able to play with both feet. When you watch Champions League, when you watch Premier League, the game is going so much faster. Every single year it goes so much faster. That tempo, you cannot get the ball on your left and then you trip on the ball before you play it, right? And when you see players now, the young players that are coming up, almost everybody can at least use both feet, or at least play with them, right? So that's a cornerstone for us. Playing forward, we've already talked about that. We want to play forward, be attacking minded. Use of skills. We don't mind players losing the ball because they try to use a skill. That's okay. We learn from that, we get better. Again, we want players to be entertaining. So if someone is fast and he takes a touch, long touch, and he just runs, fine, but you're not entertaining, right? We want to see skills, we want to see something extraordinary, right? Especially if we are to make players that goes to Europe, and if you are to get scouted, you need to have something that's your edge, right? Something that makes you entertaining. That can be, for some it's a skill. It can be a body feint, a step over. That can be your thing, right? But you need to be able to use that skill. It can be your ability to turn if you're a midfielder in pressure. That can be your skill. But you need to find that skill that makes you special, right? And then just use that skill as much as you can. Put it into play. So every time we have a player who has a skill that makes him special, we are setting him in situations where he can use that, right? So that we are sure that that player is always extraordinary. When he comes out of the pitch, if it's shooting, let's put him in a position where he can shoot. If it's skills, let's put him in a position where he can use his skills, right? And then we have intensity. Let's use the example of Champions League. It's crazy. The duels they take, the runs they take, the tempo in the ball that they play with, on and off the ball, is crazy high, and we need to have that. I would rather play 2 times 35 or 2 times 40, and we have insane amount of intensity, almost too much. I've said it before to the guys as well. Sometimes, for me, it's okay that we have practices where we almost end up fighting each other because the intensity is so high, because that is what you're going to meet. When you break into a first team, no matter where it is, the intensity you'll meet is so crazy, right? If any of you gets the chance to go to Europe or to let's say Vipers or KCCA, you will find that as soon as you break into that first team or you're training with that first team, the intensity there is crazy. They don't care if you get knocked away or if you hit them or something like that. The intensity will be so crazy, and you have to be ready for that, right? So for us, it's really important that whatever we do, we have intensity, and that we can stay in that intensity, right? Because one thing is to be intense and to have a lot of duels, a lot of fights, a lot of pushing, free kicks, stuff like that. But are you able to stay in that, right? Or are you the kind of player that someone makes a free kick on me, all right, now I back off, or now I'm annoyed for the next 5 minutes before I get back? And then that's 5 minutes where you're not your best, right? So we want our players to stay in that intensity. Yeah? That is not really important. Thrive in discomfort. It's one thing that we are trying to teach our players. You are going to meet so much time where things are going in hard times, times where it's difficult. If you cannot thrive in that discomfort, it's never nice to be in a place where the competition is hard. Situation where someone is pushing you to your limit all the time. It's not always the nicest thing. Or a coach is yelling at you to do better, or to look inside and say, what can I do better, right? It's not always the nicest thing. It can be a little bit discomforting. It can be a little bit more, and I want to get away, back off, something like that, right? But as footballers, we need to stay in that. I don't like it. I don't like this situation, but I need to stay in it. Right? If I back off from every hard situation that I meet, it'll be out before you know it. Right? So, for me, I'm always trying to create discomfort. Some of our players have been told that maybe Europe is not your discomfort. What are you doing now? Are you giving up? Are you saying, all right, that was it for me? Or are you going to change it? Are you going to change your own future? Right? That's discomfort. To stay in that situation and then have to stay working in that situation. Right? So we can create discomfort for our players, then they have to thrive in that. All right? That was a lot about our players. If I should give you one advice how to become pro footballer, it is to look inside yourself and then say, what am I bad at? When I look at our players, that's some of the things they are not good at. And it's not very nice. It really is not very nice to say, what am I not good at? Maybe my weak foot is not good enough. I have to look inside myself and say, I need to change it right away. And it's discomforting to have to play with your left foot even more, or to play with your weak foot even more, because you'll lose the ball in the game. Right? It's not very nice, because maybe a teammate will yell at you, or coach, or whatever. But for you to become the best version of yourself, if you are to become pro, you have to do something that's different from everybody else. You have to do something that makes you special. Maybe that is to work as hard as possible. You see Hamza. Hamza was never the best one here. Never. I've seen video clips of Hamza when he was 10 years old. He was not a good footballer. But Hamza has been grinding, working, looking inside himself every single day. That is true. And it has given him a pro contract in Europe, right? James was never the best. Never. But every time James is waking up, every time James is eating lunch, dinner, every time he's about to play a game, practice, every time he misses, all he thinks about is how can I score goals. He don't care about anything else than how can I score goals, how can I be the best version of myself. All right, I remember one talk I had with him where he said to me, I know I cannot hit, but I need to learn it, right? And then we went out for a long period of time, 3 weeks. Almost every day we had 10 minutes of hitting, just me and him. Because he knew, if I'm not learning this right now, maybe someone will select me off at some point, right? And it's not very nice to look in and say, I cannot hit. Some players will just say, all right, fine, I'll not hit. I'll just avoid hitting. Or maybe I'll just do it badly. I can do anything else perfectly. But James looked inside and said, I can't do this. I need to learn it. Taraj, never the best one. But he worked, and he worked, and he worked. And the thing with Taraj is, he always asked, what do I need to improve on? And it's so easy. I have players, under 15 players, under 18 players, coming to me saying, what do I need to improve on? But sometimes they don't listen. With Taraj, I know he's listening. Every single time he's asking, what can I do better? What did I do wrong? How can I improve? He's always listening. He's trying to understand it. He's trying to see that picture that I'm trying to paint for him. You didn't defend well enough. The first thing he does is he goes and he watches his game. Well enough? No. You don't play forward enough. He watches every single pass that he made in a practice. Every single one. So you have to find something that is going to make you special from you. You can all be great footballers. What was it that's making you a special footballer instead of him, right? Why would a scout choose you instead of you, right? Find something that's your best thing. Put it into work. Show it. So that's the thing that someone remembers, right? And then find out, what is it that I'm not good at? Ask your coach. When we're done with the game, of course I can send the game to your coaches so you can see it one more time, and then look at yourself with a tough mindset. So every single time that you lose the ball in this game you're about to play, you don't blame anyone else than yourself, right? And it's easy to say, hey, there was no runs, I couldn't lay off for someone. No, but you still lost the ball, right? Look inside, be tough on yourself, figure out what is it that I need to improve, and then do it. Yeah? Football is the most beautiful sport, but also the toughest sport ever. Because there's so many great players. Right? Make sense? That's my advice. I've seen so many footballers. I've been with under 15 and 17 and 19 in AGF. I've seen so many great footballers where I thought this guy is going to be the next big thing. But the only thing I come back to every single time is the under 19 guys that break into the first team are the ones who are tougher mentality, have a tougher mentality than everybody else. The talented ones that maybe have a bad attitude, at some point you are selected off. They don't want to waste they don't want to waste their time anymore, right? It's always the ones that are grinding the most, doing the most work. It's always them, and they are not always the biggest talents, but it's always those guys. I have so many players. I can mention so many Danish players that I've worked with, where we were this close to throwing them out of the club because they were not good enough. And they worked and they worked and they work. And now they have a pro contract. So that's my advice to you guys. Mentality. is key. If you want to be a footballer, if you want to live off football, if you want to make good money on football, don't blame anyone but yourself. Yeah. Questions? Anything? Otherwise, Abby will take over. Abby, see if you can beat this this speech, huh? If you see, let's take volleyball. The ball is coming from this side, you have to block or you have to hit it. It comes from one side every single time. If you take hockey, the ball is everywhere, it goes fast, it's hard to skate on ice. 5 guys at a time. Only 5 hockey players at a time. If you take handball, it's one direction, right? If you take American football, it's one direction. There are more players on the field, but it's one direction. You have to hit it this way. You know where the ball is going. If you take baseball, you have to hit a ball. Football is the most difficult sport you can ever play, that you can ever choose, because there are 11 players on a pitch. The pitch is so much bigger, so you have to be physical to play football. If you have bad technique, you can't play football. If you have bad intelligence, you can't play football. If you have bad physique, you can't play football. Football is 360. It's all around you. There are so many players, opposing players, and your own teammates around you. There's 22 players on a pitch, so it's so difficult to play football that I always say the toughest guys, they choose football. The losers, they choose everything else because it's not easy. Yeah.
Once again, how is your medication here?
My medication?
Here, just around the medication you give to other children.
Medication?
Physio, I think it's asking about more with treating players with the physio department.
Ah, okay, yeah. We have 2 physiotherapists from Uganda that helps the kids if they are injured. And then we have, is he here? He's not here.
He's not here.
He's not here. He was here just a second. We have some Danish physiotherapists coming to help us as much as they can. And then we have you seen Sophie? Maybe not. We have a physical therapist, a physical coach as well, making sure that we hit our targets, that we do our things well enough, that our boys and girls are well fed. You'll see that our players play with the GPS on, so that we know just how much load are we on, so that we are never pushing someone too hard, but we're also making sure that nobody's slacking, right? That we hit our physical targets. Are we running 6 kilometers today in a training? Then we have to hit the 6 kilometers. If we're hitting 500 sprint meters, the data never lies, right? So we have to make sure that we hit those sprint meters. So we measure our players as much as we can. We test them as much as we can. We test them in what's it called? We have strength testing, condition testing, to make sure that we give our players the best opportunity to not get injured. If you have weak thighs, or if you have weak hamstrings, we'll know because you have been tested by us, and then we know, all right, we need to put more time and energy into making your hamstrings harder or tougher and stuff like that. Yeah, that's the question.
Most academies here in Uganda do not have the facilities like for El Cambio Academy. So how can a player outside there become more better than these players and become a professional footballers and become professional footballers?
So all of our players right now, they will be superstars because everybody will talk them up. You know, James, Hamza, they get attention right now. That means everybody else get attention here. So every day I'm trying to humbling those guys, make sure that they work as hard as possible. But I also know that sometimes it goes to someone's head that I'm El Cambio player, I'm tough, I'm cool and stuff like that, right? If you're able to work harder than an El Cambio guy, eventually you'll be picked over him. Doesn't matter if his starting point is up here and you're way below. If you work harder than that guy and you grind more than him, at some point someone will pick you, right? So for me, they only lose because they can do so many things wrong to not get picked or whatever it is. And it's so much tougher to be ahead than to be the one who's chasing. Because your dream of becoming a pro footballer or to be better than James or Hamza or the other El Cambio players here, for me, I think you'll be more hungry than our El Cambio players, to be honest. Because they have a nice pitch, they have a nice life here, they can watch TV, they have all the facilities here are so great. So for me it's all about, can you stay more hungry than those ones? Can you work harder than those ones? You'll play on a better pitch, for sure. But if you get more reputation than El Cambio guy, if you work harder than those, at some point you will overtake someone, right? Yeah.
And Isma, they were playing World Cup. So like to maintain that, like to be consistent to that performance, like the level they went on, it was big World Cup. Like a player that is not in a place like this place, like a Cambio place, how can he or she like maintain the performance or like to remain on the top?
So the question is for Hamza and James, how can they stay on top? Yeah. For some players, right, going to the World Cup, for some they will just say, this is my biggest achievement ever. I've beaten France, everybody's talking about me, life is good, I have peaked. To think that you can peak at 17 would be crazy, right? So what's the next thing? Every day in Denmark, in AGF, where James is right now, people are saying to him, this is only a stop for you, right? You have a good life, you are training with the first team, it's a matter of time before you break into that first team, right? But what's the next step? You can never be satisfied with something, never. If you if I were you, all right, I would do everything that I can to either go to Europe or to go to one of the biggest clubs in Uganda. But when you hit that spot, all right, what's the next? Can I play 3 or 4 good years in Uganda and do like Okello, going to young Africans, right? Going to the next big stage. For James, it's to break into that first team so he can move on to the next one. For me, it's a big failure if James is not going to Premier League. That's how good he is. For me, it's a failure if Hamza is not breaking into the first team. For me, it's a failure if Isma is not going to Real Madrid. To be honest, that is the level I see them at. And it's only themselves that can stop it. I'm not going to stop them. I'll do everything that I can. AGF will do everything that they can to help them. El Cambio is going to do everything they can to help them. But it's a big failure. And they only have themselves to look into. Of course you can get injured and you can do all sorts of stuff, but for them, and that's the mentality, right? You've beaten France, everybody's talking about that. I saw the game. And I saw all the media attention that Uganda under 17 got after. And then even some of the other ones that were not from Cambio got offers from.
Yes, coach. Thanks very much. According to your experience in football, what could be the relationship between football, money, and education to these boys or to the millennials? Because we have seen very many of them fail to balance those three. What could be your advice? All we need to educate for us. How could you balance those three?
Vil I sige til de her drenge, at jeg er lige lidt forsinket? Det er godt. Football is temporary. Everything is temporary at some point. You could lose your kneecap tomorrow. Then what are you, right? Even our boys, we're after them all the time. They don't want to go to school. They think it's boring. They don't want to. Sometimes they get bad grades. But as I say to them, as a coach, I can never trust you. If you get bad grades in school, I could never trust you. If you're undisciplined off the pitch, I could never in a million years trust you. Because how can I ever trust that you will be disciplined on the pitch, right? If you're slacking in school, if you're late to your classes, if you are disturbing the class, stuff like that, how can I ever trust you to be on time on the pitch? How can I ever trust you to do whatever you can on the pitch, right? And at some point, football will be over. At one point, you'll be 40. Or at some point, you don't want to play football anymore. Then what are you, right? What is your identity off the pitch? Are you? What are your goals then? It's the nicest thing to think of. But are you a football coach? Are you a salesman? What are you, right? But for me, it's character to show that I care about school. I care about my future, even off football. And to be honest, some of our players, they will get told, hey, if you don't pick up now, fine, you don't practice football. It's important to us that you play, that you get an education, and that you are good in school. Because you could get injured tomorrow, right? When someone comes and say that one of my players is doing bad in school, that's how you're supposed to be. And it's everybody's fault. If my teammate is doing bad in school, I tell them, hey, you pick up right now, right? That's also character. Some players are picked solely because of character. Again, Hamza, character. Still now, he's not the best footballer, but he's goddammit a character. Shows up every time, takes care of everybody else, and coaches, they look at that. To be honest, we look at that. Who has character, right? And it's small points to get. But if your coach gets told that he's doing good in school, all right, now I'm thinking positively, right? Or if I see one of my players, for example, putting a hand on someone else who's down or trying to help someone, I think positively of that player now. He didn't do it. Maybe he didn't change anything on the pitch. Maybe he's still bad at football. But my mindset about that player has changed, right? It's just easy points. You don't have to be good. You don't have to be the best in school. You just have to try. If you're trying, you'll be okay, right? I was never good in school, but I tried. That got me somewhere, right? So at least that you are trying, showing a good character. You are tricking someone else's mind to shift into something positive about you. Yeah. You see already now.
Thank you for the opportunity. Everyone's dream as a footballer here, maybe it is to go pro. But my question is, what makes a good player on and off the pitch?
Next question. Have you heard about the story about Ronaldo when he first came to United? He Sir Alex, he told him, "You cannot finish. You're a bad finisher." Ronaldo was the first one to enter the training facilities from that point on. He was the first one in gym doing extras. He was always staying late after practice to finish. He was always looking at the game tape. He was always the first one at the team practice. So for me, that's the most important thing. A good player has discipline. That's the first and foremost. If you have good discipline, you'll be an okay footballer. If you don't have, then it's more about luck, skill and talent. But if you have good discipline, you will always be somehow okay. A coach can always use someone who's disciplined, right? A 6 that can make a free kick or tackle the ball, you can always use that as a coach, right? So that's, again, mentality is key. If you have a good mentality off and off the pitch, on and off the pitch, then you'll be fine. The chances of making it is so much bigger than if you have bad discipline and bad mentality, to be honest. Football, it's fun. Smile while you do it. Seriously, football is the greatest thing on earth. I love it. Enjoy it. That's the most important thing. And then keep your head, be humble, be patient. If you work hard enough, if you grind hard enough, your time will come. But you have to be 40 years old and it will be over. Yeah? I forgot when I played to enjoy it. I had to stop at 16 because I was too injured to play. I forgot to enjoy it. And I still miss it to this day. So please, the fun times with your teammates. Enjoy it. Football is just different than anything else. It's friends for life, it's teammates for life, it's people for life. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Happy.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much, boys.